Well, had a busy week. Uh, been driving a little bit last week. Ended up doing a little over 2,000 miles in a week. Saw a total of 9 different bands. Got 7 shows under my belt for the week. And it was a total of 12 sets. Started off the week down in Jacksonville, Florida, at Daly's, which is right next to the stadium, the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium. It was very, very cool. It's a newer venue built for sound. It was amazing. I went down to see Dave Matthews Band. Haven't seen them in at least 15, maybe 20 years. I can't even believe it's been that long. But I started thinking back when the last time I'd paid for my warehouse subscription. It's been a while. So I went down there. I was very lucky. The first night I ended up with a pit ticket. And then the way that Dave does his pit is very different from what I'm used to. It's predetermined before the show. You have to be part of the warehouse to get a pit ticket. And that's very cool. So it goes to your fans. That's awesome. Then they have a raffle. The day before, I had to enter a raffle, and it was free to enter. But with that raffle, I got to go and be on the rail, which is freaking awesome. It's kind of like a predetermined, you walk in and a certain number. I've seen that done somewhat at other venues, but it was done by the person who got there first in line. Hence why I was there at like 10 o'clock in the morning, getting ready to check out the venue, or not to check out the venue, but to get in line. So I get this email right after I get there, and hey, I don't have to wait in line, which is pretty awesome. But it got to walk around the venue. The production quality at a Dave show, the sound, the lighting, the backdrop, all of that was absolutely freaking phenomenal. Like, the backdrop moves around and shows different frames of pictures at times, I guess is the way to say it. It was freaking amazing. It took the 11 semi trucks for them to bring all the equipment in, and I know they were working on it for hours upon hours upon hours. I don't know what time load in was, but I was there at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they looked like, well, they had 5 trucks backed up at that moment when I pulled in. It might have been like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Then, even for the crew, they had 6 of those huge Prevost, like super nice tour buses. So at least they're taking care of their people. I mean, at least there wasn't just one Prevost and then a Greyhound bus for everybody else. But that was a pretty magical night. I really had a lot of fun. Had some really nice people on both sides of me and around me. It was pretty cool. The next night ended up in the second level up. Other than having some drunk people around me, it was pretty awesome. The sound was almost perfect. I couldn't complain at all. Really, a Dave Matthews show is really over the top. Like, it's very well done. I think I probably will continue to keep on going to those through the years. I don't know if I can stop on it. Then from there, ended up going over to Raleigh, North Carolina. It's actually called, it's Cary, North Carolina, but the venue's Cocoa Booth, but it's Raleigh. Like, it was right outside of Raleigh. That venue was freaking amazing. It was just gorgeous. It's set on a lake. Just the whole setup was amazing, and it's like an amphitheater style, but it was weird. I was the only person to stand up on the rail. I didn't know this until I got there, and luckily I had a first row ticket, but if you didn't have a first row ticket, you weren't allowed to stand on the rail. Like, they kept running people off of it, and everybody there wanted to sit down and watch the show. I'm sorry, but it was Lost Dog, starting off. And I haven't seen them in, I think it's been a couple years. Their last show was at the Burl in Lexington, like a year or two ago. I think it's been 2 years. But so it'd been a minute since I've seen them. Then for Trampled by Turtles, it was freaking amazing, by the way. That the venue, everything, just, it was very well done. The sound was out of the park. That was pretty awesome. But what was super duper awesome, like before the show, I got to go backstage. I got to interview Ryan from Trampled by Turtles. He's the fiddle player, and if you've never seen them, he's always the one, either him, I'll try to usually get in between him and the mandolin player, or sometimes on the other side, but to each their own. But I don't know, it's magical. It's one of those that was a fun one. I'm so glad I got that interview. And thank you very much to everybody from Trampled making that happen. So I ended up following them for 2 nights. So after Cocoa Booth was Union Hall, Virginia. And that was a very, very awesome. It was night 1 of 2 nonprofits that I went to. And I haven't been to many of those at all. This was like you drive and it's like just housing. And then there's a kind of a subdivision-ish. It wasn't even really a subdivision, and bam, here's a venue. It was freaking amazing, though. Ended up was a little bit late and wasn't able to get in the front row of chairs, but turned to find out, like, anybody that wants can go into the pit. Like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. So I ended up on the rail for Trampled for another night and Lost Dog, which was awesome. I think they were feeling it that night too, because it was magical. Very cool place. The sound and lighting wasn't as good, but the venue made up for it. I don't know, it was fun. Then from Union Hall went over to Marion, Virginia, which is a name you don't hear very often, but definitely know that one. That one's my dad's name. We went to, what was it called? I don't remember what it was called, but it was cool as crap, this place was. It is an Aztec theater, is what they call it. And it was a big thing back in the 20s, apparently. And it was just like an Aztec themed, and it had all like these big murals from back in the day. And it was a very, very, very cool venue. Their sound was amazing. They definitely need to work on the lights. Their house lights were horrendous. Like, I've never seen staged lights used as house lights, because you can't see anything in there when the house lights are on. Like, they have these gorgeous murals on the wall, and you can't look at them. Like, you can't get a clear picture of it, I guess is the best way to put it, because you're always being blinded by this bright light in front of you. But other than that, it was freaking awesome. Loved it. That one, though, it was for Songs of the Mountain, I think is the program, on PBS. Been to a couple of those before. Didn't realize it was, because I try not to go to any of the PBS shows, because you have to, for one, you have to be seated the entire show. If you stand up, you're out. Like, no dancing. So that's usually nah, I'm out. I'm good on that one. But still went. For that one, the video and sound I know are horrible. They were meant to be horrible. Took my phone, turned it upside down on the ground. Thought it would actually be worse than what it is, because I'm not trying to infringe on them. That's their thing. And they asked not to record the show, so I did not record the show. I recorded my ass. Enjoy. Okay, from there. Oh, and Sam Bush, best mandolin player possibly in the world. Like, he's one of those that just every time I see him, it's like, oh yeah, you're that person. Okay, awesome. From there, because I love punishment, I went to Newport, Kentucky. That was Marion, Virginia. And in Newport, we had 4 shows. Well, 2 shows, but one of them is a triple. It was Dogs in the Pile first, followed by Andy Frasco, followed by Pigeons Playing Ping Pong. So that's a hell of a lineup right there. I mean, just like crazy. Then there was an after party with Magic Beans. The original lineup, Dogs in the Pile, this was my first time seeing them. They are extremely good. Younger group, or I don't know, I consider them kids, but they're not really kids, but I guess I'm old enough to be, they could be my kid if I had kids. But they, a little bit groovy, something interesting. I would definitely watch them again. Followed up by Andy Frasco. If you've never seen Andy Frasco, the next day you have to take off work. You have to do nothing but just rest your bones, because every freaking thing hurts. That's just part of it. But it's an amazing show. It's extremely high energy. It's fantastic. Like, everybody should have to go to an Andy Frasco show. Like, that's just one of those ones. And now Pigeons, I think this is the third time I've seen them this year. They're fantastic. And it's also the third time I thought Gator was possibly the best percussionist I've ever seen. He is magical. But just the whole group, I don't know, the whole vibe of Dogs, Frasco, and Pigeons is amazing. Like, I love bands that like make you feel good, like, and they want you to feel good. I don't know, it's just amazing. But after the show, I was absolutely killed. Still went over and saw Magic Beans at the Sanctuary House Revival. First time I've been to that venue, but wow, it's like a church. And then there's 3 music venues in it. It's perfect. So went there, and then first shows up Frasco, then shows up Gator and Greg from Pigeons, then shows up, like, almost, there were so many musicians there. It was freaking fantastic. So they got to come over and hang out. I did not get any interviews. They were having too much fun hanging out with each other, and it was cool to see. Like, I don't know, I don't ever get to see, well, I guess I do some, but usually they're not that and just chilling. I don't know. There'll be another time and place. Frasco that will happen one day. Yeah, I think this was the 3rd chance I had, and I wasted it. Down in New Orleans, walked right up to him, or I was walking down the street, and then he walked out to smoke a cigarette, and knew exactly who it was, but still couldn't ask. It was right beside him the whole time, or right, I don't know, it was cool. It was a very cool venue. It was a very cool band. Magic Beans is a lot of fun. They fit in perfectly with Pigeons, Frasco, Dogs in the Pile. That was a very feel-good night, if that makes sense. But by the end of it, I was dead. Like, I think, honestly, we're talking like close to 7 hours of music in one night. That's a lot. I wasn't leaving early, but my body still hurts from it, and it's been a couple days. And so that was my week last week. Had a great one, and I'll keep on keeping on, and I hope I still have as much fun as I am right now. Until the next time, thank you very much.